Whenever I do media interviews, I always get asked the same question in every interview. It kind of blows my mind away. And the question is, do fitness apps work? And I'm going to be honest, for a lot of people, maybe even most people, they're not successful in helping them achieve the goal. So today I want to share 6 things you need to be looking for in choosing a fitness app or an online program to bring exercise successfully into your life. So whenever I'm doing media, like an interview on TV or something like that, one of the questions I constantly get is, do fitness apps work? And it's really interesting. When we think of fitness apps, we'll go online or fitness apps. And it's really interesting because I think actually for the majority of people, they're pretty unsuccessful. Now, it's not that all of them are unsuccessful, but a lot of them are unsuccessful in actually helping people achieve the goal they sign up for. Like one stat I always love to pull out is the Couch to 5 app has a 97% failure rate. So 97% of the people who download the app never end up running 5Ks. So the app's not very successful. Now, the people who go on the journey, yeah, the people who actually commit can do really well, but most people aren't successful. And so if we measure success as do people achieve the change that they want, most fitness apps don't work. Now, there is a caveat here. If you're somebody who's got all the soft skills of exercise in place, if you're self-motivated, you know how to put routine into your life, you know, you've already got an exercise routine and maybe you're just looking for a program, by all means, fitness apps can work really well in those situations because you've developed those other sides of yourselves. But if we are going to look for online options or fitness apps to help us bring exercise into life, we've got to make sure we're looking for the right things. And I'm going to share them with you. Because actually I brought out a program called My 5K Dream, which is a 5K running program a couple of years ago. And it's a massive results in people who are doing this because I got these pieces right. So first of all, let's look at tip number 1. Tip number 1 is don't use an app. Now, that may be not the best tip. But what I'm saying here is if you have a choice of an app or a local provider who's great at building community, is great at helping people grow like you, is great at building connections and guiding you, you're actually just better off to invest in a local community provider. Like there's something about real people being together that's way more powerful than an online experience. Now, it's not to say that fitness apps should be closed the door to, but if you have a choice, and you can go, you know what, I've got a local gym where I know they're a bit of a legends, I hear really good testimonials about them, I think they can help someone like me, and I think they've got a really strong community, you're actually better off to go to them because you have a much more chance of success in that journey. Now, as much as I've kind of said don't use apps, I get that some people don't have the time to be able to commit to those things. So let's look at what we're going to look at if we go to tip number 2 and what we're looking for. I've written down a list here. Okay, I think one of the big components the app should be providing is how do you plan the exercise into your life? So for example, in my online 5K program, in the first week of the program, I've kept the exercise stupidly easy because I'm trying to teach people how to fit the exercise into your life. Because the problem with most apps is all they're giving you is a program. They're just saying, here's the exercises that you need to do to achieve the outcome you want. And I'll be honest, most of the programs are really great. But if you don't know how to fit it into your life, you're never going to do the work. So one of the things that the program or the app or the online app must have is teaching you how to plan putting exercise into your life. Like what's the most realistic time you can fit it in? When are you going to have the best energy? What do you need to tell the people in your life to support you in this? If they can teach you the planning, there's a higher chance that you'll actually do the work. Tip number 3, I've got it written down here, is they need to be teaching you motivational tools. So when I was designing my 5K program, I'm sure I've got all the programming delivered in a really good way, but I also understood there's probably 10 motivational tools that these people need to understand, learn, and apply to be successful along the way. And one of the things I often talk about is that when people try to bring exercise into their life, they put a big emphasis on the programming they need. But if you don't have the motivation to do the programming, it's never going to happen. So while we're trying to give you the programming, we're also going to teach you really powerful motivational tools. It's a bit like the planning. If you get the planning in place and get the motivation in place, there's a higher chance that you'll actually do the work. And I always like to think of motivation as a skill. We're just trying to teach you the skills of motivation so you're going to be successful when those moments come where maybe you wouldn't normally do the exercise. Okay, tip number 3 when it comes to choosing an app is it needs to be set for your current condition. I think this is something that you need to self-assess on. So let's just use a running example. So something like the Couch to 5 app is a beginner app, and it's, if you're a beginner runner, that's a better option than maybe trying to download a marathon app. So when you're looking at your exercise options, make sure it's provided for your level of fitness. So for example, a lot of the weight room apps out there are brilliant if you've got that foundation of weights training underneath you, whereas some of them don't really cater for the beginner person. So what you're going to do, you've got to do some exploration, probably of yourself first, and then of apps second. And when you're doing your exploration of yourself, what you're contemplating is, where am I right now in this area of my fitness? So if I've never done weights before, I'm a beginner weight training person. So my program is going to be, the program I'm looking for is an entry-level weights program. Or you might have experienced in the past, but you've just lost a bit of conditioning recently. So it might be a coming back type of program. And this is a really important piece to get right, because if you choose a level that's well above your current ability, you're just going to fail in the first session, and the app will probably never actually happen, or the results will actually never happen. Okay, tip number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is it should have a community. And this is a really important part. And it was one of the things I was challenged with when we started our online 5K program. Because when we started out, like in our local area, we've got our local groups, and the community is a really important part of people's success. And I was kind of curious, could we actually do this in the online experience? And so we created the Facebook group, and I wasn't really sure what the type of engagement would be like, but it's actually been absolutely massive. And actually, there's probably one thing that really helps with this, is that everybody who downloads or buys our online program is all trying to achieve the same goal in a similar time frame. So you've got people who are starting this week, and then you've got people who started 6 weeks ago, and they're kind of sharing this experience as they go through it, but they're all trying to achieve the same goal at the end of it. And so the app needs to have a community engagement where you can share your experience, where you can feel connected with others, where some of the leaders of the app will be able to give you feedback on your journey along the way, and ultimately give you that sense of belonging, which is a really important part of the exercise experience. And then the last part, and this is tip number 6 that you need to be looking for, there should be a mentoring component to it. The thing I often talk about is exercise isn't just a physical journey, it's a thinking journey. And so when we think about a thinking journey, if you're moving into an area where you're not doing exercise, so let's use running again. If you've never ran, you don't know the hurdles you have in front of you. So while I could give you a program, if I don't teach you what those hurdles are and how to overcome those hurdles based on where you are, you're going to trip up at the first hurdle and probably end up quitting. So when you're looking for an app or an online program, this is what you should be looking for, is an aspect of mentoring around the thinking side of your game to be successful in overcoming all of the hurdles that you just don't need to trip over. Now, again, if we go right back to the start, most fitness apps fail, particularly for people who aren't successful with exercise, because they just give you a program. But if you were to sit down and you go, okay, well, first of all, what were my tips? Okay, have I got a local provider that maybe I could go to? If not, number 2, does it help me with my life planning? Number 3, does it teach me amazing motivational tools? Number 4, is it set for my current level of fitness and ability in this area? Number 5, does it have a community? And number 6, does it have a mentoring aspect? You can see you'll be a much higher chance of being successful in your fitness app experience or online fitness experience. Instead of having an app in your phone that just creates guilt, you'll actually create the change that you want. Now, if you do want to run 5Ks, you can check out my online program, My 5K Dream. Go to www.my5kdream.com. It's a phenomenal program. Watch the video at the top of the page, and it's helping lots and lots and lots of people actually achieve the goal of running 5Ks. So don't just download an app. Do the great thinking beforehand so you can create the great change that you want in your life. If you enjoy my pieces and you want to bring exercise into your life, you need to check out my book, I Will Make You Passionate About Exercise. This book is designed to be a step-by-step journey that teaches you the right lessons and experiences to guide bringing exercise into your life, not just for a moment, but where you get to the place where you have a long-term love of exercise. So you get fitter, you get healthier, you have great stress releases, and you feel amazing about yourself. This book has been hugely successful, getting to the top 10 in the world for health and fitness books. So if it's time for you to bring health and fitness into your life, go to Passion About Exercise, click on the link, go through the process, and you can be starting your journey of finding your love for exercise really soon.